I'll have to disconnect it. Or let me mute for now.
Okay, okay, you could mute while you take care of that. Thank you very much, guys. So, welcome again to Cybersecurity Bootcamp, where the goal of the bootcamp is to help people to do the big things in a smaller way and to prepare them for the journey ahead. Trust me when I tell you the journey of cybersecurity is nowhere a journey of a light-minded person. You have to be strong-minded to be in the industry. Though it is fun, has very fat check, rewarding fat check. Okay, but you have to put in the work. Put in the work. And, also, you have to. Who is Phillips? Phillips is joining. Phillips, who are you?
Is me. Is me. Largely Phillips.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
The thing's just logging me out, asking me to log in again.
okay, it's all right. So, um, not just putting in the work hours. At the time, you will still put in some extra coins, possibly for your certification. And the lowest I know, apart from Google certifications that almost come free, but one of the lowest, most recognized cybersecurity certification, which is currently in book, is for $199. But the international community that is providing the certification has made it a point of duty to train or to issue out vouchers for free for 1 million. They are training 1 million cybersecurity technicians, and this movement is part of the body that is training. We decided to help most of our underserved communities to get into the field. So the certification is free for first time sitting. Of course, you're not expected to duplicate your sitting, meaning when you sit with your details, you can't go to try to sit again because the details you're going to use for the exam are your credentials, your original credentials. So you're going to provide either your driving license or your international passport or your ATM, something that identifies you and only you, which also makes it impossible for you to resit twice in the whether for any reason somebody might fail and decide to reapply to receipt to take advantage of the free whatever. So all the whole standard examination practices are being upheld in the examination time. So what am I talking about? The ISC2 examination, certified in cybersecurity examination. So we will be privileged this week. That's what we're going to be doing. We will register for the exam. But before the exam, the registration avails you to use their platform for training. There are 5 domains of like 5 topics they're going to train. They have training on. Even though for today's class I extended it to 8 topics, but they have 5 core topics which they are going to base their examination questions on. So by the end of this class, you will get a link and a direction, a directive on how to successfully apply for the training. In, in NS, you are applying for the examination. So the examination is what you could apply for at the end of the training. If you are smart enough and you finish within 1 week or 2 weeks the training, you could be able to apply. But more importantly, you have to take your time. Take your time to train and train and train so that you will not be disadvantaged when you are writing the exam because the exam is very trickish. Okay, one of the tutors I was listening to said is most assuredly that the first answer in your mind is not the right answer. So funny how it's very true. So the examination is free. You sit for it. You book for it. You could book when you book. You could actually extend your booking. Like I want to take the exam in 3 weeks time. I want to take the exam in 4 weeks time. You choose the calendar. You also choose the city or examination center nearest to you, wherever you are in the globe. I believe so. For those of us here in Nigeria, we don't have any issues. If you're in Lagos, wherever you are, you get a center that is accredited to help you with the examination. So with that said, let's go ahead. Yes, that's the IS2 Information System Certification Consortium. You check them out on Google. So when you go into their site, you're going to be greeted with a lovely interface where you navigate to register. The most appropriate registration point would be this official ISC2 online safe face training. This is the one that is free. So which has its course of objectives. When you get to the site, you take a good look at it. Now, domain 1, domain 2, those are the topics I was telling you. Domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, domain 4, and domain 5. But for this class, I extended it, I stretched it to 8 domains just to touch some areas. So for heads up, I think if I can still remember, before you, when you register, before you start the domains, I think there's a little mock exam, just a little one to ascertain your level of knowledge in cybersecurity before you um, go into the training. You just want to use it. It doesn't impact your final score. It's just like a check to know your level or your base first before they go ahead with your training. So, more importantly, do not forget to look at the code of ethics for this society, for the family, which says, and I read, all information security professionals who are certified by ISC to recognize that such certification is a privilege, okay, that must be both earned and maintained. In support of this principle, all members are required to commit to fully supporting this code of ethics, the code. ISU2 members who intentionally or knowingly violate any provision of the code will be subject to action by a peer review panel, which may result in revocation of your certification. ISU2 members are obligated to follow the ethics compliant procedure upon observing any action by any member that breaches the code. Failure to do so may be considered a breach of the code pursuant to Canon 4. So when you're registering, ensure you go through it detail by detail to read all these codes, and there are just 2 codes, I think 4 codes, and we see them below. There are only 4 mandatory canons in the code. By necessity, such high-level guidance is not needed to be a substitute for the ethical judgment of the professional. Meaning, if there is something you need to make a judgment on ethically, it doesn't. This code does not supersede your judgment as an individual or as a professional when it comes to ethical behaviors. For example, yes, you are supposed to protect properties and the organization, but when it comes to life, you save life first. Life first before all those. So the code of ethics, the first is the safety and welfare of society and the common good, duty to our principals and to each other, requires that we adhere and be seen to adhere to the highest ethical standards of behavior. Okay. Therefore, strict adherence to this code is a condition of the certification. Then the code of ethics canons, number 1, protect society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence and the infrastructure. Number 2, act honorably, honestly, justly, responsibly, and legally. Number 4, provide diligent and competent service to principals. Number four, one, two, three, four is advance and protect the profession. So this you're going to find it when you're registering, and draws us down to domain one, which is security and risk management. Before we go into down, does anybody have any question regarding the registration or the exam or this particular what we're talking about today? Before we go down to the domains, if you have any question, kindly ask. So we're going to make this interactive as usual so that people will not slip up on us. So the first one is security and risk management. And Frank, you're going to read everything on the screen on the first one. So go ahead.
I should start from definition.
Yes, security and risk management.
Okay. Security risk management. Definition. The domain covers the foundational concepts of cybersecurity, including risk management, governance, laws, and ethics. It focuses on maintaining security policies, business continuity, and compliance with legal regulations.
Yeah, thank you. Even though your network was shaking. So this particular domain and everything in it um, focuses on foundational concepts of cybersecurity, and also it includes risk management, governance, laws, and ethics. Risk management typically means how do you manage risk? What are the things that are involved in risk management? Then the governance, of course, that's where you find the policies and the business continuity plans, stuff like that. The laws and the ethics. So that's what this particular domain focuses on. When you're going through the training, they will elaborate it more, extending it to more flashcards or definitions, which you're going to pay very great attention to because most of them will come out in the exam. So the use case for this security and risk management, we'll look at a simple use case. We'll say first, this risk assessment. A company evaluates potential risk before launching new software. Before you launch your software, if you're a builder, you have to evaluate the potential risk. Identifying threats like malware or data breaches and creating a plan to mitigate this risk. Under compliance management, a healthcare company ensures, for example, ensures that it keeps compliance with HIPAA to protect patient record. And HIPAA is the body that regulates how health companies handle patient data. Under security policies, we are looking at organizations to enforce password policies that require users to often change their passwords regularly to minimize unauthorized access. Then, if we are looking at practical wise, imagine you are securing your home network, your home Wi-Fi network. You set a strong password, enable encryption, and restrict access to only trusted devices, which mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. So, this domain focuses on risk assessment, compliance, and security policies, and we say that security and risk management, this is what this domain covers. The next domain will cover asset security. And Phillips, could you take this for us?
All right. Asset security. This domain involves the protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling. It includes secure storage, encryption, and proper data destruction when necessary.
Yes, very important. That last part is very, very important because most people don't know that there are rules guiding how data is being destroyed, even how long it stays before it's being destroyed. When when an employer or when a user leaves a product, there are rules to guide how long that user's detail will remain in the database before it's being destroyed. Even the mode of destruction, there are still rules and policies guiding such actions. So this domain, asset security, involves the protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling. And the use case, we can see its use case. For example, data classification. A company categorizes data as confidential or public to determine the appropriate level of protection. Yes, a document classified as public, probably the gateman should be able to handle such data. Then the ones classified as confidential, yes, the director or the senior management are involved in such data. So we also see secure disposal, just like I was saying. An organization securely disposes of obsolete hard drives using shredding techniques to ensure that data cannot be recovered. So this goes to stretch on how data is being destroyed. On the practical aspect, a small business needs to classify financial records as confidential and use encryption to protect them, ensuring only authorized personnel can access them. That's just about this domain, second domain, which is asset security. The third domain is a security architecture and engineering, and we have Amsterdam to take that for us.
Okay. Security architecture and engineering. This domain focuses on designing and building secure systems and networks. It involves applying security models, ensuring encryption, and managing security measures to protect infrastructure from threats.
Yes, the whole security architecture and engineering of data. This domain focuses on. You see, it started from designing because if your designing is wrong, definitely the implementation will be wrong. So there are risk-free designs which designers should look into even before they start making their wonderful, beautiful designs. So starting from designing and building secure systems and networks. So let's look at some use case on this. Secure network design. When designing a company's internal network, engineers use firewalls and intrusion detection systems to block malicious traffic. IoT security. A smart home setup is protected by applying encryption to communication between IoT devices. With the rise in technology and AI, we see that almost every part of our house is almost being um, technologized. We have ACs that are listening to voice commands. We have lights that could respond to voice. Everything is trying to become alive due to technology. So, and all these are meant to function through IoT security, Internet of Things. A smart home or anything smart should be looked into before putting it out there in the public to avoid endangering properties. So the practical aspect, what you can do, a student learning about cybersecurity might design a mock secure email system, okay, incorporating encryption to protect messages from interception. I'm still looking at for a set or a batch that would want to take up this particular project and own it up in addition to their capstone project. It would be a nice one. So the next domain, sorry, will be communication and network security. communication, and network security. We say this domain emphasizes securing networks and data communication channels. Okay, it addresses how information is transmitted from one network to the another and how to protect it from threats like eavesdropping and data interceptions. Okay, which are very prone to happening in the network environment. Under the use case, we have the network segmentation in corporate environments. Separating the network into segments ensure that if one segment is compromised, the other remains secure. Also, VPN implementation. Employees working remotely use virtual private networks, VPNs, to securely access company resources, preventing man-in-the-middle attacks, which is very prevalent in network security or network-related businesses. On the practical, when connecting to public Wi-Fi, users should ensure and enable to use VPN to secure their communication and protect sensitive information from being intercepted. When we say that informations are being intercepted, we'll look at it on our capstone project, how you could intercept a section and cause havoc to the system. The fifth domain, identity and access management. I. This domain involves managing user identities and controlling access to resources. It ensures that users are properly authenticated and authorized to access systems based on their role and privileges. This is where you get both the role-based access controls, etc. That's where I think you're going to find access controls in this particular domain. So when going through the training, you look in very well. The examination is going to be focused on five major domains, which out of all that we treated, the five will be picked, and they have percentage of how many questions is expected to come out from each of the domain. You will also see it before the exam. On the use case on this identity management, we see that multi-factor authentication, employees use both a password and a fingerprint scan to access sensitive information. Now we're talking about this. I feel like making a little reference to access control. Okay, the types of access control. Let's just do a little dive up to capture this. So let me do a full screen present so we could capture the entire screen. Okay, I just want to do a little capture for us. So we'll have this at least. This is going to stick to our mind. It's very important even in the examination because it is going to come out in the examination. What I'm about to share with us now. Okay, so I'm going to be using the pen tool to write. So we have, if I'm not mistaken, type 1, type 2, and type 3 types of access control. Where is my brush? I'll use a bigger one. Let me use brush. Now, let me use pencil. Because if I use pencil, it wouldn't come out the way I want it to come out. Okay, so we have type 1, type 1. So when we are talking about type 1 controls, we are referring to what you know. What you know. And what do you know? You know your password. You know your password. So when type 1 access control is needed, always remember that it is what you know. Now, type 2. Type 2 is what you have. Who can give me an example of what you have?
Fingerprints.
No. What you have could be your ID card. It's normally physical. ID card. What you have is always, most times, physical. Your ID card, maybe your tokens, your phone for multi-factor authentication. So the last one, type 3, will be who you are. Now you know where the thumbprint will come in. Type 3. So what is example of type 3? Who you are. What is example of who you are? Who you are. Example.
Fingerprints. You just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Abi, is it not?
Yes. Your biometrics. Biometrics. So you have to remember this explanation because it's going to come out very well in the exam. They will twist it up and down. They will twist the question very well. Type 1 is always what you know. Is what you know. Your password. You know your password. You know your password. Then when type 1 is being used to add the multi-factor authentication, type 2 can be added to it, meaning your token or your ID card, okay, to help you to do dual factor. Then also there are questions that will come out in the form of which one of these, when you lose it, cannot be replaced again. Which one of these types from type 1, type 2, type 3, do you think that when you lose it or when it's being uh, jeopardized or which English will I put it now? When when it's been infiltrated, cannot be reissued again. Which one of them?
Mm,
Type
Type,
3.
type 3.
Yes, your biometrics is who you are. Once someone gets your biometrics, you can't change it. You can't reset it. There's nothing like reset password. You can't reset your biometrics. That is who you are. So if type A has an issue, of course, you can call for a reset password, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If type 2 has issue, of course, they can reissue you another ID card, reissue your ID card or token. They will reissue you, reissue. But if your biometrics is compromised, Otilo, is gone. So just ensure that you don't forget this demonstration. It's going to help you both ahead in the exam and also um, for your studies ahead. So let's dive in back to our domain. Ensure the recording is okay. Our recording is up to. So we we are in a multi-factor authentication. We said that employees use both a password and a fingerprint scan to access sensitive financial systems, enhancing security. So under access control policies, and IT department implements role-based access control. We have role-based access control. Uh, Let me do this also. Mhm. Let's do this. Let's see whether we could talk about access controls a bit. Let's go. Okay, we have very few types of controls, if I'm not mistaken. We have arrow, B, A, C, and it stands for role based. Role. So, who can explain what this role based access control means? Meant from hearing the name. Someone should please explain it for us. Hello, is anybody there?
I'm here.
Okay, so what do you think, men hearing the name role based, what do you think this kind of access control is based upon?
Well, I'm not sure, but I am just thinking it's based on individuality as such.
So, when, let's say, for example, you are in a company and there are roles. If you are a manager, or let's say if you are a staff, an intern, your role is probably to upload pictures online. You don't have the role to accept or modify those pictures. So, in access control, we have role-based access control, which depends on the roles of whoever it is that is being given it to. We also have MAC, which is mandatory access control. This is usually based upon managerial levels, mandatory access controls. For this type of controls, you will need clearance, and clearance can only come from the top, which is from the managers, to do whatever it is you need to do. You will need clearance. I didn't get that spelling right. And this is about the most strictest, very strict, and I think most costliest access control. We also have rule, like sets of rules. We have rule-based RBAC, rule-based access controls. So when you are going through the training, look out for these salient points. They are going to be very, very important that you pick them and keep them in mind for the exam. So I just wanted to divert a little bit and let's share it. The first one we have is we have a role-based RABAC. The second one we have MAC, mandatory access control. We have rule-based. I think there is one more, discretional, discretional by discretional role-based, discretional. So even if there is nothing you use to remember them, use their um, names, their full acronyms to know what they are after. So let's go back to domains. Any questions anyway before we fire down?
No.
Okay.
No question.
For
Okay.
now.
Thank you. So on the practical, on the use case, we say that setting up multi-factor authentication on your personal accounts, such as email or social media, adds an extra layer of security, reducing the likelihood of account takeover. Number six is security assessment and testing. This domain, number six domain. This domain focuses on evaluating the security posture of systems through assessments, testings, and audits. This is what this particular domain focuses on. It includes vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, and continuous monitoring. On the use case, penetration testing, a cybersecurity team tests an organization's defense systems by simulating cyber attacks to uncover any vulnerability that might be hidden or known to them. Now, there's a reason why this penetration, this particular, that's one of the wonderful reasons why this security assessment and testing is very important. There is something called zero-day attack. Who knows or who has an idea of what a zero-day attack means? Does anybody have an idea? Zero day. Any attempt? Anybody? Guys, I need your cooperation so that we could go ahead.
No, no idea.
Okay. Frank, what about you? Absalom, what about you?
0 day.
Yes. What do you think it means?
That's I think it's maybe like an attack from uh, from the initial setup, or from the moment there is a leakage or a loophole.
Okay, but that is not
No.
correct. Frank,
Okay.
Okay, like I would say, like 0 day, like it takes advantages of unknown.
okay, close, very close to it. Okay, now let's assume that this is a bank, okay, and this is inside the bank, of course, inside the bank where money is. And ever since this bank is operational, nobody has idea of probably when the bank came in. Even the people that built it, they just built the bank. But they don't know that there is a tunnel that ran through their underground. They don't know. Now, if an outsider or a threat actor finds out that there is a tunnel that runs under the bank, he can make use and leverage on this vulnerability and loot the bank and of course pass through the tunnel. Since the bank does not have any prior idea about this vulnerability, they don't even have a remedy in place. So that's what it's called, a zero-day attack. An attack that is not being known, or there is no remedy for it on ground because it has not been known. Once it's been exploited, Now it is being known. So, so once the threat actor is able to take hold of this vulnerability, which is this hole, this tunnel under here, he can be able to exploit the bank. Now, how long do you think it's going to take the bank to fix the tunnel? Do you even know how long the tunnel is? So you understand how dangerous 0 day is. You are not going to be prepared for it because you don't even know that it exists. Now, your work as a security operationist or a security analyst is to be able to conduct vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, also continuous monitoring, so that you will be able to uncover vulnerabilities before the adverse effect of the before the threat actor finds it before you. You should be able to know about it. So that is what a 0 day is. It's going to still come out in the exam. With the analogy I painted, you should already have it in your head. That 0 day attacks are attacks that have no remediation. There is no cure on ground for it because it has not been noticed. But once it's been noticed, then it's no more 0 day. Uh, what's it called? Solution will be now planned for it. So vulnerability scanning. Automated tools are used to identify weak points in the network or software that could be exploited by attackers. Practical. Using free tools like Nmap, beginners can scan their home network for potential vulnerabilities, ensuring that all devices are properly secured. Of course, from next week, you're going to start doing this kind of practicals. You're going to do this exactly next week. So you're going to come prepared next week. So the seventh domain, we see security operations.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
Okay, my question is now in your system, or yeah, in your system or mobile device, like what are 0 day attack in your system, mobile device or software?
Okay. Now, this is a question you should that you should Google out yourself and come prepared for next week because next week is practical. We're going to be doing a lot of testing. We're going to be doing a lot of scanning. You're going to be able to scan your home lab. You will set up your home lab, which of course consists of your laptop, your phones, and your laptops, your phones, or your what's it called routers, whatever it is that you have that listens to the network that is connected to your Wi-Fi or your hotspot. All of them consist of your home lab. Once you have your home lab set up, you can now start testing, scanning, of course, looking out for 0 days. Now, one of the easiest way to go through security questions or brain teasing questions like this is when you go into ChatGPT, you ask ChatGPT, what type of 0 days can we expect or can I expect in my mobile device or in my home lab or in my system? Trust me, you're going to get enough eye-opening ideas or answers from it. Time will fail us to go into that now. We would have just gone to ChatGPT, asked it, and of course, it's going to give us some vulnerabilities or some 0 days that might have been happened in the past because any 0 day that is known is not a 0 day. That's another thing. I don't know whether you understand. If a 0 day is
Yeah,
known, is no more a 0 day. It's just now an attack that you can have remediated solutions for it. So your own is to ensure that you constantly prove your system and think wide, think like the thief. Also, think like the good guy, think like the bad guy. What are the ways or what are things that have not been exploited that could be exploited in this system, in this network? What are the possibilities? What if there are endless possibilities? It's just about is your mind open to seeing them or is your scales open to seeing them? I hope that's okay,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, please. Yeah, you made mention of chat. Please, is there any? Can you maybe a particular one? Because most of the times I see many chat. It's not.
Uh,
I used to
just,
see Chrome
just
one.
watch. Just watch. As I'm on Google now, the
Okay.
normal one, chat.openai.com, the normal chat GPT. So, while you're also doing your practicals, by next week, I will ensure I will tell us on how to work on ChatGPT, especially how to use it as your companion when doing your practicals. Because at the end of your bootcamp, it should be able to help you compile a resume. I will show you how to use it to compile a resume that has all the skills you must have gone through or expressed when working, from the whole home lab and all those stuff. So let's say, what type of 0 day can we or can I expect or is possible on my phone or my home lab? So now it says, let me increase it a bit. Hope you can see it clearly now, right? Can you see it clearly now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It says 0 day vulnerabilities refer to security flaws in software or hardware that are unknown to the developer or vendor, meaning there is no patch, there is no fix for them currently. So these vulnerabilities can be exploited by attackers before they are discovered or patched, and they can affect a wide range of devices, including smartphones and systems in a home lab. So it goes ahead to show you mobile phone 0 day vulnerabilities, explains some of it for you, network-based attacks, web view, SMS-based, home lab 0 day. So what I did now, you could just duplicate it on your system, and ask it, and from there, you guys should start a good conversation where you're going to build a relationship with it while you're doing your practicals as from next week. I hope that is okay, so that we could go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So security operations. This domain involves the day-to-day tasks required to keep an organization's assets secure. Yes, we already know that from last week we talked about security operations. They monitor, they detect, they analyze, and they remediate. So they respond. So it includes incident response, disaster recovery, and maintaining the operational security of information systems. On the use case, disaster recovery refers to after a cyber attack, a company uses its backup systems to restore critical data and operations. Hmm. So, incident response also, a cybersecurity team detects a phishing attack and quickly responds by blocking malicious IPs and quarantining the affected system. On practicals, developing a basic incident response plan for your personal device can help you react quickly if they are compromised, such as knowing how to change your passwords, disconnect your email address, or update your email address password, call your internet provider, get their contact, call them to or what's it called, disconnect a particular device from service. So knowing all these things ahead will help you to put into practice this domain on security operations center, security operations. So the last domain here in the training, the ICT training, the domains are five. So everything I talked here that I stretched to eight are compressed into five domains. So I have here software development security. This domain covers the security of software applications throughout their development cycle. It also ensures that security is integrated. Mhm. It ensures that security is integrated into the design, like we already said in the beginning, coding, testing, and deployment of the software. Under the use case, we see secure coding practices. Some people, some developers don't even follow, they don't know, let alone following this guideline. There are secure coding practices that ensures that loopholes are not being left here and there. So developers should follow guidelines to prevent common vulnerabilities like SQL injection or cross-site scripting in web applications. In the capstone project, we're going to be looking at, we're going to be practicalizing the SQL injection. And also we are seeing security testing in development. A company implements static analysis tools to automatically scan codes for security flaws before they deploy it. On practical, a beginner learning about web development could practice writing code that avoids vulnerabilities by using, this is very important, input validation techniques to prevent malicious input from being executed. Just a final demonstration. Just a final demonstration. Let's see. Okay. So let's assume that we have input field A and we have another input field B. And the first one is username, username, and the second one is password. And let's have a box for probably uploading, let's say, file upload. Let's say this is file upload. Upload your what? What are we going to use? Hello guys.
Yes.
Yes. Upload your what? DP, display picture.
Yeah.
Upload your DP or profile image. Let's say profile image. Okay. So this domain, software development, emphasizes on security. And you see this part that is here, input validation. It's very, very important. It prevents a lot of threats. So if your username is supposed to take, let's say, Brian at gmail.com, there has to be validation around the email addresses to ensure that they follow whatever it is as the whatever it they have as a rule of how email addresses should come in. Now, it should this email address username should reject characters that are not necessarily, you know, acceptable as usernames. Likewise on the password side. Why is this possible? While we are doing our practical, you will see that it is possible to inject SQL codes, it's possible to inject virus or payload into the password field. We inject something like this, or 1 equals to 1. This particular payload you see here is capable of bypassing the username, and log us in as an admin in any vulnerable application. We are going to see how this applies during the practical. So, people or developers who are building should ensure as a matter of very very strict guidance that they filter whatever that is coming inside here, because from here anything that goes in here, where does it go straight to? Who can tell me?
The database.
Exactly, it goes straight to the database. And if a malicious code enters your database, otilo is gone, your database. So now you're understanding the reason for um, this particular domain, which is software development security. This domain covers the security of software applications through the development cycle. It also ensures that security is integrated into the design, coding, testing, and deployment of the software. Then on the use case, we saw that a beginner learning about web development could practice writing codes that avoid vulnerabilities by using input validation techniques to prevent malicious input from being executed. Likewise, in the uploading profile image, the images that are supposed to be uploaded should be, let's say, JPEG or PNG. Of course, those are the most acceptable image types. Now, if a malicious person or a threat actor fails to upload these, now uploads a file that has batch, bat, or dot, let's say php or shell, any of the stuffs out there. And of course, once it hits enter, it goes straight into your database, and from there, he can manipulate and do whatever he needs to do, which we are going to see during our practicals. It's going to be very fun and tedious also. I hope you guys have been seeing the guys on the group how relieved they are when they
Mm.
when they
Yeah,
get their
and they're
juice
making the
shop.
juice. Mm.
And funny
Mm.
enough, the juice shop is like a web application that is vulnerable. It is on
Mm.
that web application that these attacks, the practicals, are going to be carried out. So it's not even the main
Okay.
attack, it's not the main process. It's just the environment, setting up the environment for the project.
All right.
So that's a heads up. So I think we've come to the end of today's class, taking an hour plus. So for this week you're entering, you're going to be doing two major things. First, you're going to be registering for the ISC2 and go through the 5 domains training. And secondly, you're going to be ensure that you install the tools necessary for the practical classes starting from next week. You're going to download and install your VM, your virtual machine, as install your Kali, read up about IP address, IP class, and IP octets. These three, we're going to talk about them. In fact, we're going to use these words, these terms, very well next week. IP address, IP class, and IP octet. Also, read up about the need or the use of Nmap. What does it do? What are we going to use it for? Then, lastly, read up about ports. What is ports? What does ports do in network ports, and the types. So our next week is going to be on home lab setup and network scanning using Nmap. That's what we're going to do next week. So guys, this is it for today. If you have any question or any contribution, feel free to air your views before we say goodbye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brian.
Okay.
So, in respect to the software stuff. And while you're teaching, I'm a web developer. Of course, I write some code and all of that. And I see the reason why when we're trying to write the query, especially for login details, there are some characters that are avoided.
Okay.
Those characters like question mark, right, dash, hyphen
Hmm.
is not allowed in the password. So those are there's one time you call it something I've forgotten other time.
Okay. Okay.
Could you go back to that slide that you talk about security, the software? Yeah, the input validation techniques.
Yes. Okay.
So those are the input validation techniques that, so if you're trying to log in based on the way we write the code and execute it, so we ensure that users cannot enter question mark, cannot enter dash, cannot enter hyphen, cannot enter dots in their password,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because those things are what hackers usually use to access the database.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
is
Yes. And
actually
also,
correct.
yes.
That's actually correct.
Thank you. And also, I believe when talking to database, some of the languages used to talk to database have those special characters as
Yes,
their
yes,
forming characters. So
yes.
it should be preserved for only talking to the
The
database.
database. Yes, yes. That's the reason why it's not allowed.
So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Phillips. That's very helpful.
Mm.
Okay, Frank and Absalom, anything before we call it a day?
Yeah, yeah. I have one more question.
Okay.
What if an admin has a very cheap or common password, like an admin is using Brian at Gmail. No, let's use info at brian.com. The password is 12345. Do you think a threat actor is able to penetrate that?
Of course, very easy. There are lists of, see, human beings can be predicted. Okay, and
Mm.
you'll be shocked to know that most people's Wi-Fi or routers in big organizations are still using the default username and password, admin.
Yes,
You'll be so
yes.
shocked. You'll
No,
be
that's correct.
amazed.
That's correct. That's
So
correct. There's no lie. I know that.
those kind of instances, you see, people, the bad guys or the threat actors take advantage of them. So that is why us
Mm.
security analysts, when we come across to such clients, we ensure that all those loopholes, at least the ones that are known, are being taken care of. You see, an admin, most admins are using admin at the domain. This should be
Mm.
the password. The fixture is admin at domain domain. So it's easier to guess. Okay, if this website is brian.com, then I just put in admin at brian.com. I should be able to,
Hmm.
those kind of guessworks are very, very possible.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
always good to take the extra mile to preserve your username and password, and also to tighten up the scale. There's something called cyber kill chain. This is a bit up, but let's talk about it a bit. Cyber kill chain is like the steps an attacker goes before he finally executes his mission. And the first one is I don't know how to pronounce this one. Recognize, but it means information gathering. It starts from information gathering, and the last is executing the payload or executing the whatever it is he came to do. And of course, when he's executing it, in the middle, there are some places where he will establish command and control, meaning he's going to build a house inside your system where he can stay and manipulate it from outside. So The cyber kitchen ensures that or shows us these steps. As a cybersecurity analyst, you should be able to know of all these steps, know the kind of steps he's taking, where he is, and try to stop him where to avoid him to get to the last part. That's one
Mm.
of the goals in cyber kill chain. It's called cyber kill chain. If you go on Google and
Mm.
Google it, you will see a good graphical representation about it. Cyber kill chain. So even if you miss him in the first stage, try to catch him in the second. If you miss him in the second, try to catch
Mm.
him on the third. Try to catch him on the fourth before he
Mm.
does.
Mm.
Yeah.
Execution.
Yes. Exactly.
So I have one more question. I think that will be last for now.
Okay.
A client of mine, I think during COVID, I did I helped her do some stuff at that place. Then later on, she called me that someone that she asked to help her do something on her laptop, the person has penetrated into her laptop,
Mm,
right? And my brother, this thing lasted for almost 4 years.
mm,
The person accessed her laptop, hacked the laptop, hacked all her emails,
mm,
hacked her WhatsApp, hacked her bank accounts. And I kept wondering how did that person was able to do all of that
mm,
for 4 years. The woman went to report at EFCC. She
mm,
did all Interpol. They could
mm.
not track this hacker.
Okay. It's very, very easy.
They could really.
Yes, it's
It's
very
very
easy.
easy.
Yes. Now,
Wow.
just like this cyber kill chain, okay, the easy part is the information gathering, which is the number one. Recognize information gathering. Once information is gathered, a weapon is being formed with the information that is being gathered. It's going to be weaponized. Once the weapon is being formed, they'll look for a vulnerability that is going to be used to pass it in. Now, step one, step two, step three was so easy. He was given access. So
Mm,
all he has to do is jump step one, step two, step three, step four, go and plant command and control.
mm,
Build build a remote home inside the lady's laptop so that wherever he
mm.
is in his house, he's as good as that laptop, the woman's system, everything is in his house. So he just
Wow.
remotely, access all those things. And there are some stuffs that when you enable them in an environment or in a network, you could be able to remotely access and control wherever that network is from wherever you are. So, as a security of analyst, you are going to be or you should be exposed to some of those tracks or hacks so that you will know. And that's why monitoring is very important. When you monitor your ports, network ports, we're going to be talking about the importance of monitoring ports next week. When you monitor your ports and you see a port that is open that is not supposed to be open, come on, you'll be asking, so what is this? What this port is not supposed to be open? What is it open? Because ports are like um, channels of communication. If a channel of communication is open, then there are two things involved. It's either he's taking information or he's giving information. Two things are involved. And if you are not the one opening it or giving or taking those information, then there is an issue.
Someone
Somebody
else.
is here, someone is
Mhm.
doing it. So, as an
Mm.
admin, what you have to do is shut down that, what's it called, that port, close it
But,
down, or secure it. So, uh,
mm.
see, you could see what someone could do when the person is being given, what's it called, access.
Mm.
You can stay in. You can even change your password. If you change it, he's seeing the new password.
She even changed her phone number,
You see,
changed all of that. Yet the hacker was still all over.
you see.
Any conversation. The funny thing was that any discussion she had on phone, the hacker is listening to it.
Trust me, even the camera. There are some dedicated hackers that when they decide to when they take over your network, your phone camera will be recording you, but it's not showing that it's recording. You won't know.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
it's not going to be recording inside your own phone. It will be recording in his own laptop because of the space. So
Wow. So you'll not be aware.
you will not be aware that your phone is recording.
See, and Interpol could not track that thing. She cried that thing for almost 4 years. She emptied all her life, all her accounts, everything. She was going. Ah, man. The woman suffered.
It still boils down to why there are shortages in the field. Okay, there are enough shortages in the field. Before you could
Hmm.
get a seasoned security analyst who will look at a scenario and know. See, the main thing
What to do?
is yes, when you look at a scenario, you should know where this person is on the cyber kill chain.
Hmm.
Because if you don't know where he
Hmm.
is, you are anything you are doing, you are wrong. He's going to be one step ahead
Hmm.
of you.
Wow.
You should be able to know where is this person, what level of information has he gotten. If he's
So
already
far.
if he's already an admin, you should know that whatever it is you are doing, you should be looking for a remediative way to remove him as an admin. Because an
Hmm.
admin has access to everything.
Yeah. Hmm. That one a witchcraft too.
It's all right, guys, man. Well, it's been a lovely
Cyber
time.
witch.
It's been a lovely time with you guys, and I encourage you guys to give it your all. Do not give up. The game ahead is both fun and demanding and tasking, but at the same time, is rewarding ahead because Nigeria as a country, not just Africa, is is low. We are short-staffed, especially when it comes to security. Okay, and we're going to keep on pushing. So thank you very much.
So can I ask
Yes, go
before you
ahead.
leave?
Excellent. Go ahead.
The virtual machine you asked us to download, is there a particular one we need to download?
Yes, there is a video on how to go ahead and get this so you wouldn't make much mistake. So there are directions on which to download. The clip will be shared in the group so that you just follow the clip one after step by step and get to the top.
Okay, all right, fine. Then another question, lastly, based on this hacker story well, this guy just talked about, right?
Yes. Yes.
The person that accessed the woman gave her his laptop to use. So what if the woman had created partitioned the system, like created a user account on the system, so that if she's giving the person access, the person only has limited access to her system, whereas she has her private information.
You
Does that help?
now going talking about what's it called, access. I think we're remember what we talked about access control. Yeah, we talked about access control.
Okay,
If you are working in a system and you want to run a command as root base, they should ask your password. But if you don't already set up your password, then anything can happen. Anybody can run commands on your system.
okay,
For example, if you want to run a command line on your Windows and you don't you are not the administrator, you don't have the password of the administrator, you can only do it as a limited privilege. So
yeah,
probably the role you have is just a normal user. There are some applications you might not be able to install in that system because you are not
okay,
an
yeah,
admin.
exactly. That's what I'm asking. Yeah,
So,
okay,
but if you give this person your password, your admin password, then he's working as an admin. It's just as though he's the owner of the system. Then he
if
can
it's the
do
owner of
and undo.
anything, okay, all right, fine, thank you.
It's all right, guys. So, thank you very much. Um, don't forget to spread the good news to eligible candidates, please. I only accept eligible candidates, no matter how much the person wants to pay. Someone came here and paid 100,000 for a program and never attended class for 1 day. I'm still looking for the person. I don't know where the person is. So
Wow.
please, we only accept eligible candidates. If you want to join the program, if you're listening to us on YouTube and you want to join the program, kindly reach out to our Gmail and we'll get you assigned. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice weekend. The recording
Yeah,
video will be out probably before tomorrow night or thereabouts, so that you guys can use it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
okay, bye. Thank you. Good night, sir.